The Honda Motor Company is currently valued at roughly $200 billion. It holds the position of the world's largest manufacturer of internal combustion engines, powering everything from commuter cars and motorcycles to industrial generators and business jets. That global scale began in 1922, in a Tokyo that looked nothing like the high-tech metropolis of today. A 15-year-old Soichiro Honda arrived in the city with no money, no connections, and no formal education. He had spent his childhood in his father's blacksmith shop, eventually dropping out of school and boarding a train to the capital because he'd seen a magazine advertisement for an automobile repair shop. He expected to spend his days under the hoods of prestigious cars. Instead, his new boss handed him a baby. For the first several months of his apprenticeship, Honda was forbidden from touching a single engine. His job was to carry the owner's infant child on his back while the actual mechanics worked. Honda stayed. He spent those months sweeping the shop and watching every repair from a distance, treating the humiliation as a chance to gather observations on how a professional garage actually functioned. By the late 1930s, Honda had moved from repair to manufacturing. He worked around the clock, losing weight and sleeping in his workshop, as he attempted to develop a piston ring that could meet the standards of the growing Toyota Motor Corporation. The result was a near-total failure. Out of the 50 prototypes he submitted for quality control, Toyota rejected 47 of them. This 94% rejection rate revealed a massive gap in his technical knowledge. To solve the problem, Honda enrolled as a part-time student at the Hamamatsu Industrial Institute, studying metallurgy to understand why his alloys were failing under stress. He spent 2 years iterating on the design based on that academic research. He eventually returned to Toyota with a product that passed inspection, learning that large-scale manufacturing requires precise chemical data to succeed. As World War II began, the Japanese government placed Honda's company under the Ministry of Munitions. Toyota purchased a 45% stake in the business, and the man who had built the company from nothing was demoted to a senior manager, losing his autonomy to the war effort. In 1944, an American air raid landed a direct hit on his manufacturing plant, instantly destroying the facility he had spent years building. Months later, a magnitude 8.0 earthquake struck the region, collapsing his remaining secondary plant. By 1945, his entire physical business had been reduced to a field of rubble. Honda sold the remaining scrap metal to Toyota and waited. While the physical assets were gone, the engineering data and manufacturing techniques he had refined over the previous decade remained in his head. Post-war Japan faced an economic collapse. Fuel was strictly rationed, and public transit was non-existent. People were struggling to find any reliable way to travel to markets or jobs. Honda noticed a surplus of small generator engines used by the Imperial Army to power wireless radios. He began mounting these engines onto standard bicycles, creating a cheap, fuel-efficient transit solution for a country with no resources. These motorized bikes became an immediate hit, providing the capital to officially found the Honda Motor Company in 1948, and eventually leading to the mass-market Super Cub. Despite his success in the workshop, Honda recognized he lacked the ability to manage a growing corporation or navigate complex financial markets. He needed a partner who understood the logic of business as deeply as he understood the logic of engines. He partnered with Takeo Fujisawa, who took over the commercial and marketing strategy. This allowed Honda to focus entirely on engineering and innovation, while Fujisawa established the company's global distribution and retail networks. By the 1970s, Honda was preparing to enter the American automobile market. Detroit's manufacturers were focused on producing large, heavy, fuel-intensive vehicles. The 1973 oil embargo caused gas prices to spike and fuel shortages to spread. American drivers found themselves in long lines, facing strict limits on fuel purchases. Honda had spent the years leading up to the crisis developing the CVCC engine. This technology allowed the Honda Civic to run on a leaner fuel mixture, making it one of the most efficient cars on the road and the first to meet new strict emission standards. Honda utilized geopolitical and environmental shifts to anticipate which machine the world was about to need, leaving the established American manufacturers behind. By the 1980s, the company that had started with a surplus radio engine had become the third largest automobile manufacturer on the planet. In his later years, Soichiro Honda's reflection on his own career was uncharacteristically blunt. He described his daily work as a continuous series of mistakes, blunders, and serious omissions. He viewed every failure as a necessary piece of information required to build the final product. The $200 billion company grew from a simple, repeated discipline: make every possible mistake, analyze the failure, and never repeat the same error.